All right, I'd like to call this regular meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners, South King Fire and Rescue to order, March 28th, 2023. All commissioners are present, either in person or virtually. Could I ask Mr. Berger to lead us in the pledge, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have 4 sets of minutes to approve tonight. We can do them all at once unless, does anybody have any comments or corrections to make to any of them? Okay, then let's, I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve all sets of minutes, the special meeting on February 21st, the regular meeting on February 23rd, special meeting on March 6th, and the special meeting on March 14th.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
The motion's been seconded to approve all sets of minutes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, Commissioner comments. Start with you, Commissioner Fuller.
No comments tonight, thank you.
All right. Mr. Bedino,
Nothing from me, thank you.
Mr. Thompson.
No comment.
Think about it for a
I
second.
think, I'll say something profound, but I'm not going to.
All right. Mr. Berger.
Not at the moment.
All right, and none from me. All right, then item 5, public comments. Are there any public comments? Doesn't look like it. All right. Moving on to item 6, Commissioner Committee reports. I don't think we've got any reports. I will mention that in our packets, there was a list of the commissioner committees as they stand right now, so that everybody's up to date on those. All right, agenda item 7, resolution number 628, name change to South King Fire. If I can ask Chief McCaffrey to read the resolution.
Yes, sir. Resolution number 628, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of South King Fire and Rescue proposing the legal name and corporate name of the district be changed to South King Fire, subject to approval of the King County Council pursuant to RCW 52.30.060, adopted by the Board of Commissioners of South King Fire and Rescue, King County, Washington, at the regular or special meeting of the board the 28th day of March 2023, with the following commissioners being present and voting.
All right, is there a motion and a second to approve resolution number 628?
I'll move resolution number 628.
I'll second that.
All right. Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve resolution number 628. Any questions or discussion?
I did have a question for the chief, for the chair. Chief McCaffrey, can you give us kind of an outline of what will need to change physically and virtually, let's say, in order for the name change to go through? What will change on apparatus and structures and website and all that?
Absolutely. I'll try and kind of boil it down. A good bit of what we have already, for example, these logos on most of our shirts, the patches that firefighters are wearing right now, all say South King Fire. So that won't change. The new vehicles that we have purchased have been marked South King Fire or in the process of being marked South King Fire. Some of the existing vehicles that we have I believe say South King Fire. So over time, I wouldn't suggest at all that we do this overnight, that over time, gradually replacing the banners on the rigs, for example. There's a number of things that are probably, I'm missing. Some of the markings on the fire stations, we would have to redo.
Do we have monument signs, Dave?
We have some monuments, I believe station 66, 62 has them on the flagpoles, those sorts of things. We'd probably have to take a look at that. Some of that, I think we could probably legacy out based on when that particular event had taken place. Maybe we want to show respect and sort of timestamp that with whatever the current name was at that particular time in history. The website, I believe, already has South King Fire. It doesn't say South King Fire and Rescue. Can't confirm that. Is that correct? Yeah. So it's really just a kind of a housekeeping issue that I don't want to try and do overnight. It's going to take a little bit of time. Did that answer the question? Okay.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, if there's no other discussion, all in favor of approving resolution 628, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, carried unanimously, thank you. All right, agenda item 8, discuss the vaccine mandate. Chief, you want to lead us off on that?
Sure. So I've had some discussion with a number of the Valley chiefs, Renton, Puget Sound, and Berphus chief. We've discussed this a number of times, most recently last week at a meeting. A part of the mandate, if I can take you back to when the commission imposed the mandate, there was a concern that if we did not follow suit with the rest of the Valley agencies, in particular the big three, that we had a risk of not receiving mutual aid, or frankly, locking us out of providing mutual aid. And that was, I'm not speaking for the board, but I know that was a concern. As time went on, the mandates have, well, COVID has eased a little bit, and it's certainly changed over time. The state has dropped the mandate, as has the county. We fall under a contractor's position within King County. And so with the dropping of those mandates, the Valley agencies dropping those mandates, I believe, and this has been an issue for me personally that's been of great interest, that the time has come that we should probably consider dropping that mandate as well. We have returned some firefighters that have been displaced because of all of this. They're now back at work. Most recently, Tyrell Rose, one of the firefighters, has returned as of yesterday, I believe. And they were brought back in, allowed to come back without vaccination. So it seems a little cumbersome if we have it in place for some and not for others. I think the cleanest way to do this is just to eliminate it. And it would be my recommendation that the board do so.
Sure. Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that remove that we rescind the current policy of the Board of Commissioners of South King Fire requiring COVID-19 vaccines as a condition of employment. Further, the Board of Commissioners is dropping all mandated COVID-19 vaccine requirements for future employees joining the department.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll
second.
Mr. Chairman.
And any discussion?
Mr. Chair, please, one of the, after the chief's comments is that back when we initiated the mandate, one of the governor's issues when he issued the mandate was that our district, as being an EMS provider, could have
if we had not initiated the mandate, we could have lost our EMS license from issued by the state. And that would have been a drastic impact to the community. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands that that was one of the contributing factors to us initiating the mandate.
If I could, I know that the vaccine mandate created a tremendous amount of controversy within the department and the fire service as a whole. I believe we lost some of our most talented people prematurely in some cases. I believe that this, if the board moves forward with this motion, will also create some controversy, but I don't believe that it is the wrong thing to do. I believe it's the right thing to do. I didn't agree with it at the time, but I believe that the board did the right thing by having the mandate in place, given what the nature of the disease was at the time. So I support what the board is doing tonight as much as I supported it then. To be honest, I didn't agree with it then, but I did support it.
Yeah.
We are not saying what we did was wrong. We're saying it's time to rescind a rule that made sense at the time.
I agree with that, Commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to add that for all the reasons that Chief Matapton cited, that I support this motion. I think the most compelling reason for me personally as a commissioner back in August of 21 that I voted to implement the mandate was the fact that the Valley agencies are our sister agencies that we depend upon for a significant portion of our response to community emergencies, fires, emergency medical incidents, was going to be lost. And it felt like, in my mind, we really had no choice but to join them in implementing the mandate in the way in which they did, and we ultimately, as well as the other reasons that were described and what Commissioner Thompson said, the risk of losing the license as well. So while it was one of the most difficult decisions I've ever had to make in many, many years of public service, it was the right decision, and I really am proud of the fact that the firefighters prior to the decision protected themselves and their patients without fault, as far as I know. We never had any indication of a COVID infection being transferred from unvaccinated employee. So in my heart, I felt the way Chief Matapton did, but my head, as the rest of the commissioners, told me that we really didn't have a choice. We had to implement the way in which we did to maintain the level and quality of service that we had and continue to have. And I'm glad that we're now at the point, hopefully, where COVID is behind us from the standpoint of an emergency and the vaccination mandate. I just keep my fingers crossed that we don't wind up in this situation in the future, but who knows what the future might hold. So I do support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments? All right, we have a motion and a second to rescind the current policy requiring COVID-19 vaccines as a condition of employment. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Item number 9, an amendment to Chief Matapton's contract. What we have is a situation where when we did his contract, we talked about dependent singularly, and really the contract should read dependents plural. So in his contract, the suggestion is to change the word dependent to dependents and to remove the word spouse. Any questions, comments? Could I have a motion that we make that change?
Mr. Chair, I move that we amend section 6, subsection M of the professional services contract for chief and captain by changing the word dependent to dependent, the plural, and to remove the word spouse.
For a second.
I'll
I'll
second.
second that motion.
I'll defer to Commissioner.
All right. Been a motion and a second to make that change. Any comments? If not, all in favor of making that change, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. All right. Okay, administrative team report.
Yes, sir. I'll start with a prepared statement to answer Mr. Monroe's. If you recall last meeting, the gentleman called in and asked some questions. I wasn't fully prepared to answer them at the time. Staff and I have put together a response. I don't know if Mr. Monroe's online, but I'll read what I have prepared. Mr. Monroe indicated that there was a rumor that we were considering closing down the ambulance in the Twin Lakes community. And before I go any further, just a nomenclature correction. We don't refer to, at least in this area in the fire service, as ambulances, what are really aid cars. So going forward, I believe his intent was to address age 63 in particular. And I brought that up. I didn't get any sort of indication that I was incorrect. So I'll assume that age 63 is what he was referring to. The answer is the gentleman was referring to age 63 housed at Station 63 in the Twin Lakes community in Federal Way. The district has not closed the aid car due to firefighter staffing issues. The unit is in service 70 to 80% of the time. Our current staffing model should increase the percentage of in-service time for all of our units. Mr. Monroe asked, he seems to recall voting for initiatives to staff that aid car. The district's answer is, for many years, the district has strived to get age 63 operational. It was a goal in a previous strategic plan. In fact, the district has increased operational staffing the last 4 years in the hopes of achieving that goal. Unfortunately, it's been a moving target. The pandemic, vaccination mandate, and other issues have caused fluctuations in our daily staffing. In terms of voting for an initiative to staff that unit, educational materials related to the district's maintenance and operation levies and lid lifts do not specify how and when units will be staffed. Informal communications between labor and management over the years, including prior administrations, have reinforced the passage of critical funding measures to achieve our operational goals. Mr. Monroe indicated they had heard about breaking down the CARES unit and was concerned about alleviating citizens' problems around our area. The response is the CARES program was a partnership with neighboring agencies to provide a social worker and firefighter response to non-emergent or otherwise low acuity calls. Last year, we terminated the partnership after determining the program needed to be retooled in such a manner as to provide the best benefit to the citizens within our service area. As stated at the last meeting, we had some issue to work through with our labor group. With those partially resolved now, it is our hope to introduce a replacement program in the not too distant future. It is also important to note the program was primarily funded with money from King County. We are on a hiatus. Those funds are parked, and until we introduce a replacement program, at which point we can draw those monies allocated for that purpose. So once we're back online, those monies will be open and available for us to use again. And that concludes my prepared response to Mr. Monroe's questions. You have the staff reports in front of you, and I think it's easiest nowadays just to open it up to questions if you have specific questions of any of the administrative staff.
Any questions for the staff?
As always, very complete report.
Thank you, Bill.
I don't have a question, but I did privately give a attaboy to Chief Crossan for continuing the restructuring and moving the fire prevention division forward. He's done, I think, a fabulous job, basically almost from the ground up rebuilding the division. And this month he talked about some of our simple one-time permits that the fire district issues, making it much simpler for customers to deal with that, make the application themselves online. And that's a standard practice now in most development processing functions in cities and counties and districts that issue permits. And I just want to commend it for that. I did, for the rest of the board's knowledge, pass along a suggestion to make it a little easier, Kevin. I did have to search a bit to find the one I was looking for that wasn't listed among these simple permits. And I don't know if you had a.
Yeah, and I responded to staff, but also for everyone understanding, part of the report too, Don talked about how we're going to redo our entire website. So we work within the parameters of the given website. Your points were very well taken. So many in our community work from mobile devices now, whether it be iPads or iPhones and so forth. And our website, although it tolerates it, it's not really set up for that. So yes, it's on our radar. When we get this new web page up and going, it'll be much easier for, but right now, since I didn't want to drop a lot on IT, I said, let's just put these links somewhere these were already embedded. But it is not perfect the way it is now. But we wanted to get it out and get it out there and we've already had it used, I believe, 3 times. The people that use the most are the people who remove or fill tanks in the ground, residential tanks. Those ones we get all the time. So they are the most popular ones that use that.
And that one you can get to through, through a mobile device, but it's most of the others that you can't see.
Right.
Unless
Yep.
you dig down and find a connection, find a
Yeah.
link that takes you to it. So I appreciate the fact that you are aware of it, and we'll make sure that when we update.
This
the
is
website-
step 1. We have some other stuff we'd like to do too. I'll be completely honest with you. We stole this from Streamline. San Diego is using this. They have a way to report things, citizen complaints or reports about property and so forth. We didn't want to open that door yet, but that's probably the next thing we'll look at in the six months or a year from now.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Chair, just a comment, Chief Crossan, that I was impressed with the comment regarding our new inspectors and stuff. And I guess the attaboy, attagirl is important to the outgoing inspectors who did a good job mentoring the new folks. So good job.
Great. The staff's done great. Those 3 are wonderful. They're learning a lot, as you probably know, and so forth. They're learning what they don't know. There's what the code says, and then there's reality and how you make them work together. They're doing great, but their plates are very full right now. As I mentioned, they're writing a lot of violations, unfortunately, but we're getting caught up.
Like the goal is voluntary compliance.
Yep. So far, just so you know, we have not used the reinspection fee yet. As I told you, the goal was never to charge that fee. It's to have it so we don't have to have a conversation about coming back over and over. We have not billed anybody yet. So far it's working as we desired. Yeah.
Okay, moving on, March budget.
I will turn it over to Dr. Ganem.
We're closing out the first quarter of 2023, and we're slightly over budget. Coincidentally, I actually had to double check the numbers. We are 1 14/100% over budget, which was exactly the same percentage as it was last month, for anybody that's paying attention. I don't know how often that happens, but it happened. We're doing okay, and our finance supervisor is unavailable tonight, so I'm going to pass it to Lorraine to read the particulars.
Good evening. This is Lorraine Young, and I am the fill you in on the expenses for this month. We had mid-month utilities warrants totaling $80,652.08. We had accounts payable warrants totaling $1,311,173.57. And we processed payroll for 188 individuals by direct deposit totaling $1,352,674.65. We paid payroll taxes of $288,526.67. And medical claims that have been processed as of March 21st totaled $335,061.79 for a total approval request of $3,368,088.76. Our expenses together with the March 23rd processed medical claims that are not captured in the expense report are $335,061.79, which brings us to the $10,769,753.32 year to date, representing, as Joe mentioned, the exact same percentage, just barely over budget of 1.14%.
All right, thank you. All right, could I have a motion and a second to approve the vouchers?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the vouchers.
I'll second.
Okay, motion that is made and seconded to approve the vouchers. Any questions, comments? All right, all in favor of approving the vouchers, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried unanimously. All right. Any other comments from the board? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.